How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video, and this time finally I'm bringing you the breakdown of the Sin City Comics in Newport large store championships. So this happened last Saturday, and it was the first IRL storage championship and the only one in the UK for the summer period, so from June, July, August. And it was originally maxed out. It was already capped out at 64 attendance, but after the Welsh guidelines that released just before, not long before the event, it was cut down back down to 40. So unfortunately, it went from a 64 to a 40 man. And I know some people did miss out, but then again, it was posted out. I know it was posted out there before, and people were aware of it. And as I mentioned to a few locals, that there's no reason not to buy a ticket, because if it was postponed, you still have your ticket for the new date. If it was cancelled, you get a refund, so there's no loss really there. So we had 40 people in attendance, quite a few. It was packed out, enjoyable, fun. I attended as well. It was a first time playing in real life in a proper tournament for over 2 years for me, so that was nice. Nice event to just shake the rust off. And yeah, it was quite interesting. We quite a few decks, so we'll get into it. Also, shout out to Sin City Comics for being able to host it. They did a really good job. They made sure we all kept distance as well, kept the appropriate distance between each other. Sanitized tables between round, all the tables. Made sure it was run, even if it was run slowly, it was run smoothly, and give us enough time to get everything done. Make sure we had plenty of time for the rounds, time in between to go outside, because sometimes if you're wearing a mask all the time, it's quite stuffy, so be able to go outside, have a little breather, have a bit of drink, and also have a break as well between it. And yeah, it's a great day. The store is great. I would go back and make it. I wish it could be my locals, really. Yeah, shout out to them for hosting it, and I know they're trying to apply for another one because I think there's going to be more applications to go for more in September, and they're going to apply. So I look forward to them getting another one and attending that one as well. So first off, so we're going down the breakdown. So it was, because it was 40. Normally it would be the top 25% would get a extra prizing. So normally if it's 64. It would be top 16 would get extra prizing and be a top 16, but unfortunately, as it was around 40, it was a top 10 that got extra prizing. So rather than go for top 8, which would normally happen, I went for a top 10 because the top 10 people got extra prizing with the winner stamps. And with the top 10, we got 8 different decks, which was quite cool. So we had one Dark Broly, which was the one that ended up taking the whole day undefeated. We had 3 King Cold, one of them being myself playing it. Loved the deck, very enjoyable. I think depending on the ban list, it could be one of the top, 100% going to be one of the top decks going forward, depending on how the Dark Broly goes, because that's his only worst matchup, in my opinion. And then we had 1 Mecha Frieza, we had 1 King Piccolo, 1 Blue Baby, 1 King Vegeta, 1 OG Soul Striker, so not the reboot Soul Striker, the original back from the starter deck back in set 1, and also 1 Mecha Gabura as well, which is pretty cool. So we had basically a deck in every colour taking part and playing in, and yeah, it was only yellow and green only yellow that had 1 deck in the top cut. So that was the top 10. So we're going to the deck list, starting off with first place. So we got first place. Also as well with this as well, where it was the software. I think the software not brought out for Dragon Ball. It had the beast. It was running using the system where you use the BCC IDs and stuff. So unfortunately, I don't have the names of everybody of all top 10 people. Unless they had it on the deck list, because I got managed to get hold of the deck list to cover this. And some people I know some of the people who made it, so I know I put their names in. But the people that I don't know personally, I had to put the BCID, that name that was given with the deck list. So first up we have Joe Dunform, who ended up taking the event first place with Dark Broly. Quite a cool list, and also I'll be showing the side decks as well because it was a best of 3. It's in real life event and best of 3. So let's see the standard package with the Brolys, all 4 of them. Interestingly, he was only running 1 champ, which is pretty cool. It was pretty interesting. So I know some decks I'm gonna run 2, but it's personal preference. It's also running the Gogeta package with 2 of each, one in the TP Gogeta and one of the one that help give for barrier for this fusion. Also including as well 1 of each of the TP SS4 Vegetas, 1 for TP13, 1 for TP11. 2 brainwashed, 2 extra ones. I reckon this was a good deck, I feel, over on Broly, because at least when it attacks you draw a card, so you're getting a draw while swinging with a 30k body. That's pretty good. Even if it doesn't stay for the turn to get the switch to active mode, you still swing with a 30k and draw, which is quite nice. And I see you had to go with the Champa, a great finisher for the deck, as well as Mirror, which you can recycle if he was playing the Nero Patoa, and also just a really good finisher in general. And with that, with his extra hour lap, only 3 ball, which is understandable, 3 power bursts. Is mainly 2 protected people, which is pretty cool, and secret rare choice being a lineage, and also tech choices being 1 Bardock, which is like the Nimbus for the deck, being the 25k body as well, and also the Piccolo Unison, which is a really good card in this because you can sack off a 30k or a Dark Broly from your hand to draw a card, and it's in the drop ready for the use. So there's no more to go in the deck. I've put the leader over so you can see this episode if you haven't seen this deck before, the leader before. But also a pretty strong list, and with a side deck is you're siding Heartfelt Plea, which is pretty cool because I imagine that in some matchups like it's not the easiest drop, you've got to find it. So it's interesting. It would be interesting to hear his thoughts behind why he sided that. Quartz Kai is a good side. True Fighting Spirit is good for blue. Quartz Kai is a really good card at the moment. Especially since if people want to defend themselves using things like Topo and stuff or Rival, you can punish him for trying to defend himself, which in my opinion this card doesn't exist, but it does. And if you're not running it inside, then you should try and get him for the side. An extra seal. Then we got Dabura for hand control, Seeker Dentally for board wipe, but never Tenacious for if he needs defense. 2 Super Kamehameha, this is pretty cool. It'd be interesting to know why that was mained over Protector of the People, and 1 Petrification as well, because I think that's a really card for when you go against blue in there. What was it running? The Freezer 100% Overdrive, because it stops the ultra from going off of milling. So when it attacks, this is one of the few cards that stop an auto that's impending from going off, which is pretty cool. That's the first place deck list. Really good list, and you can see quite easily why it took first place. And then the next deck that we got is Danny Allen with his King Cold list. This was the King Cold deck I played. I played 1 mirror. It's the only deck I lost to. Really good. Unfortunately, I was misplayed up with this. Well, I'll go over it actually in my deck profile that I'll have tomorrow. For everybody, it will be interesting seeing the more detailed reason behind my list. But with his list, it's pretty cool. Almost same line as me. Standard line Brody, 4 of each. Is it running 4 Unstoppable Invasion, which I know some people run between 2, 3, and 4. He's running 4 of all of them apart from the Terrified Realization, which he's only running 2 of. And with his tech choice, he's running 1 of the Demolition Freezer for a board wipe. And he's interesting, he's running 1 of the Shield, Let the Battle Begin. This is pretty cool because you can play it off the Anticipated Onslaught, because it's permanent if your opponent has 2 or more energy. You just cost this card in your hand by 1, and Onslaught plays either a Freezer army or a Freezer clan, which Shield is a Freezer clan, as you can see at the bottom there. And when you do play it, you get 2 Shield army tokens, and then you can create a life to give your tokens 10k power. So you end up getting, you can play 19k, it gets you 2 10k tokens, Then by creating life, you can get them up to 20k for quite a bit of aggression, which is pretty cool. And then with the rest of it, he's gone the maxed out on charismatic villain, berry blue, freaking cool, which is a cool number, and corner with the same number for these two. 2 pinnacle. He's managed to fit in 2 Zamasu, is pretty cool because this is a 56 card list, so it's quite a lot of cards. He's also running 2 Paragus. That's a quite nice, interesting choice because you can play it off of Onslaught if you want to, and it's an extra way to sack off your field cards to replay them. Like if you want to, you can sack them off to replay them from Berry Blue from drop, play them out from your King Vegeta, just hard cast them. Freda Frieza is really good because it can become a vest. Like it can become a dual blocker, like a 25k swing, and then a double blocker at 20k, or 25 dual attacker, which is pretty cool. And his overall choice was the Man on a Mission, which is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting why this over the many. Like some people play Fighting Against Fate because it's a 25k dual attacker. Some people play Secret Instincts. I know not Secret Instincts. Secret Identity. I know I do that because this one thing this deck kind of like is one thing I prefer Secret Instincts for. It's for board removal, but it'd be interesting to find out why he chose that secret of choice. And sorry, not secret of choice, but secret of choice was the Majin Buu Incarnation of Evil, which is incarnation of demonic evil. So it's interesting. This is so normally with the decks you get some people choose the ape, and some people choose the Majin Buu. The Majin Buu is pretty good in the fact that if you're going to try and kill your opponent with your Unison with its -3 skill, if they use a counter on that when you attack with it, you can use this free energy to counter their counter and give yourself a 40k double striker on board, which is pretty cool. And he's running 2 Homicide Cloned, which is a negate, like one of those negates that we got in Battle Evolution. That's almost basically replaced some of the Sparking negates. I think the only one that really hasn't been replaced properly is the Dimension Magic. Dimension Magic's so good. And then 4 Royal Supremacy, which is basically a free negate. Which is basically a better Shock and Death for this deck, being a free negate that doesn't require you to take a life, and you can KO some stuff on your opponent's board. And interestingly, this is nice that it gets rid of tokens as well, because it's just like the same sort of wording as Dormant and the set 2 KO, where you choose up to that level. And with his side, is running interesting side. So he's running 1 Ribrian, a bit of hand control there. A 4th copy of Frieza Revived and Reviled, extra Cooler and extra King Cold. So imagine this is this is pretty interesting. So basically you can decide if he needs extra copies of these, like if he's playing against a deck where this is really good, or negates really needed, or a dual attack blocker is really good, so I need an extra copy of those. You also have Time Ruler Tower. Now this is one I remember while playing we talked about this, where this is pretty interesting. We're in the mirror, where if your opponent's got a Berry Blue out, you can overroam it to this, which is quite easy enough in the deck to get 4 and drop. Play this, take their Berry Blue, and then you have their Berry Blue to then use after you sack off a field card, which is pretty cool. And then you keep the Berry Blue. So that was a pretty cool tech, pretty cool side. It's got Bardock Fully Unleash. Imagine that's like that was for the Dark Broly match. Sorry, not mirror. 2 Dormant. Interesting that some people do still side or main Dormant. I feel that Dormant isn't really needed in King Cold. You've got enough defense to defend, and normally Dormant is just bleeding 2 cards and it doesn't stop the 2 attacks, which is interesting. And he's got Cell Kamehameha for an extra defense. Like if he leaves any open, it's quite high, it can help defend quite high attacks and also rip cards in your opponent's hand. 2 Bigger More, I imagine to help with Dark Broly and Sin Channel as well. Omega Sin as well. Clash of the Mask Warrior, I remember you saying about this, could sometimes decide this in the mirror for if they went if his opponent went in with their Unison, he didn't have the fill card up and they used the Boo to stop his counter. You can add this to say, yeah, I'm not taking that damage. And then 1 Remote Serious Bomb for some removal as well. So pretty interesting sideboard. And congratulations on getting second. And then for the third place, we have Mech Freezer. I don't know the name of the person who was running this. I just know the BCC name was Wyoming. So if you're watching and you know him and this is you, feel free to mention in the comments, and I'll amend the list to have your name on it. So you can get the recognition because it is your list. So it's quite an interesting list. He's playing mainly one Son Gohan and Videl power couple. So this is an interesting card. It's from one of the expansions. I think it was the expansion. I think it was from the Surge expansion. Because it's an activate main for one. Now you don't play Heartcast it, you just use it for its effect, which is an activate main for 1 yellow. And if your leader card is yellow and you place this card from your hand in your drop area, you draw a card. Then you choose up to 2 of your opponent's cards, ignoring barrier, and you get minus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. I'm not sure what he started that in for, because I don't think there's much that's 5k in barrier you need to worry about Mecha Freezer. Unless it's just to make things easier to run over that have barrier, but I'm not sure. But it's interesting. It'd be interesting to find out why he run that, what main that. And then super combos, he had split between Krillin and Zamasu. Then he had 4 of the Bergamo and Riposte. Standard lineup for defensive kind of mecha with free Chapil, free Basil. Normally people run between 6 of these, sometimes 4 Chapel and 2 Basil, sometimes reverse, or sometimes this number. Then he had the tech choices. He can run off his Planet Vegeta, which is Dark Power Black Saiyan and Absolute Annihilation. That's one of the best things I think with this deck, is that it has that utility of being able to main deck one-ofs like these two that help against certain matchups and be able to search for them. Like this is good for the mirror match, Absolute Annihilation, and Dark Power Black Saiyan. It's just a really good card. That's like a necessary evil in the game. Then he had the 1 Swift Retaliation Cooler. He was running 2 of the free counterplay, along with 4 of the Unison as well. 2 Bardock, and his secret choice was Kai, which seems like a main choice for Mecha Freezer, because Mecha Freezer can't really deal with boards like Unisons much, and that's like a really good handy thing that, especially you have a 40k beat stick for energy and then wipe the board. And then his overall was split between Secret Identity and Bardock, but it's interesting that he was only running 1 Bardock and no Beerus to go with it, unless he didn't find that useful. 2 Poutine, I've seen some lists only have it at 1, he's running at 2, which is pretty cool. 1 Kai, like some are starting to adapt with now for some finishing pressure. And with the field cards, 4 Powder the Super Saiyan, just one of the best yellow cards in the game at the moment, especially making the Bergamo a lot easier by for free, tapping something down, being able to trigger Bergamo without having to use your super combo. 3 Vegeta's Final Flash at 3, 4 Units 9 Assemble standard, that's a staple with Mecha Freezer at 4, 2 Giant Ball, and a Cold Bloodlust as well, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, as long with the Planet Vegeta. So quite interesting list, not completely standard, but a lot of the standard tech, main deck stuff that most Mecha decks have. And then with a side deck, is running 2 Son Gohan Changing History, because this is unlike the yellow one, it's searchable by Planet Vegeta. Never Dark Power Black Saiyan. 2 of the SS Trunks Altering Future. Now this is an interesting choice. Not sure why, unless you wanted for the board wipe, but the board wipe doesn't go for barrier, or if it was for the first activate main, first activate main marker skill, where you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and it'd be using 4 or less to basically just negate skills and chaos, so it doesn't trigger if it's got a skill triggers from his stride. And then he's got 2 Tyrannical Blow for certain matchups as well, which is pretty cool. And then extra copy of Goku, Secret Identity, and Swift Retaliation Cooler. Just if you need an extra copy of them, decide them in. And then for action gates, if you needed them, 3 Razor Army and reinforcements, and 2 Flying Nimbus, which is pretty cool, so help for defense. So that was 3rd place. Now let's check out 4th place. Alright, so With 4th place we have Daniel Pucky with his King Piccolo list. So once again, this is quite a standard King Piccolo list. 4 drum, 4 cymbal, 3 tambourine, 4 piano, and one thing different you see in most lists is having King Piccolo, the next step to you. So this is a activate main once per turn for 1 red if you don't have a red unison play. So if you don't have a red unison play, choose 1 in your hand or face in your life and play it with a marker on it. Sometimes you bring out a unison for cheaper, quite interesting, but then it's only on 2 markers after that you have to use the +1. So I don't know if that's worth it, but main does attack, which is pretty interesting. And then it's got an activate battle of what's it? If your leader card is a red King Piccolo card and you have a red Namekian or Demon Clan cards face in your life, add a top card on your deck to your life, then use a 1 for a combo. So basically that's just what's on board. You can use it as a extra way to combo from your life, which is pretty interesting. So that's pretty cool. Something different I haven't seen many other King Piccolo decks run. There's running 2 Dragon Ball Obsession, 2 Time to Fight, along with 3 the new ruler, and then 1 of the first steps to revival, 3 to Scion, and also 1 of this King Piccolo Evil Dictator. I can't see many decks run it nowadays, like some people did run it early on, but then I feel like it's more of a win more card, but I guess he must have found it useful to use, and even then at least it's 0 cost 5k, which is quite cool. Super combo choice just being the Piccolo, as that's a combo ball from your life, and then 3 Yamcha into Topo. Main decked 1 Mecha Gabura, that's pretty interesting. Like once you get past turn 2, you don't really use your energy much apart from for negates, really, because of the fact that you play most of your stuff for free. And secret choice, he's got the free place out of the Piccolo Junior Unison, just best red unison at the moment, and then secret choice being the Gohanks for board wipe. I can't remember if this was the King Piccolo I played, so I remember he was running the Gohank secret as well, but still, that's a good secret choice. I know some people do run the Kai as a good way to get help with board removal, and just a V6 it only costs 1. But still, this is a very good secret rare. Like, I reckon the secret rare is amazing for red. And then 3 extra cards, a whole playset of Planet Rays, 2 attack the Yin Clan, only 1 freezes death, which is interesting, and the main decking of Beerusable. Like this one's interesting because I know it could be quite easy, especially with first step of revival, to be able to get your life down to 4 at least. But without a multicolor, this does cost an energy. But at least defensively, it can you can stop a play and then give your leader a 5k, which could be the reason behind it. Then for his side deck, he's only running 13 cards. Interestingly, he had 2 Brody Crown, a good red card, 2 and then 2 King Vegeta Hidden Ambitions. This is one of the counter for red, where if they pay a 1 cost negate for free, you can stop it for 1 energy, but only if your opponent's got 3 more. So this is good against things like Dormant if they play it for free, Dimension Magic to play it for free, things like that. So that's quite a good tech. A third copy of Topo, a set another Mecha Gabura, also the Vegeta Unison. This Unison is amazing. Like for this format, it's just a strong Unison because of its -2, where until the end of your opponent's next turn, if your opponent would play a battle card, using his skills placed in the drop area. And what do we do now at the moment? We mainly play things by skills, so it just shuts down things, especially against Dark Broly. They can't play anything. Like anything they do play gets in a drop, which is very strong. So if you wipe out the board, then drop this, they can't play anything. If you can keep giving it counters, which you can do with some cards like there's Bardock Strategic Mind. There's also the 1-drop Piccolo for 1 energy to give a unison marker. There's the Gogeta Chain, there's ways to give it more markers just to keep that up, and that's just like once you get that down against a lot of decks in the format, especially Mecha Freezer as well, it just shuts them down. I love the tuners, and I'm using my Vacuum ramp, and it's amazing. There's also 2 Wolfgang Fists. Wonder of Hope was an interesting choice. That does seem quite costly nowadays, but 2 of them. Also had the second copy of Freezer's Death Ball and 2 Unexpected Turn, which is quite cool. So that is 4th place, and now we have 5th place being the Blue Baby deck. So this was done. Once again, this is another one where I don't know the name of the person. I just know the BC name is Blocky Stream. So once again, just like with the other one, if you're watching, put a comment down below if you're the person this is. I can change the name on the list so you can get the recognition. Well, even though it's your list anyway. So I can put your name in so people can see that is your list. So it's quite an interesting list. Zen Unison. This is something that people have been changing, and I remember in my player interview with Harry Rivers, who made top 16 of the card market event, explained his reason behind Zeno is that the fact you can charge some of your cards in the early turns if you have no other choice, and then grab them back later on, and even just tap 1 the draw because you don't really use your energy much on your turn. And then with the rest of the stuff, quite standard stuff. Baby Minion, Diabolic Parasite, Ready to Rumble, all standard counters, 2 Ape, 2 Hit, and the 2 Boony to help against, I think, Imagine First a bit of aggro. Turn the Tide for the end game, one of the an end game option, and then it's 2 Secret Rares because Fu technically is as strong as a Secret Rare. Baby Hatch and Fu. And with his extra cards, the standard of 4 dimension magic for Eventually Bang Attack, 2 Shield Army Reinforcement. Like these kind of negates are really strong, and as I said, replaced in most colors apart from blue. Have replaced the old sparking negates we got in set 5. 2 Max Power. I imagine this is quite useful just as a negate and also removal as well. And then units of choice being the 4 Boo and 2 Baby Unison, which is people are switching now to the Boo because the Boo is just amazing, giving you that extra energy and draw plus a double striker that can then block in your opponent's turn. And with side deck, you're deciding 8 against hand destruction. So if they drop it, you just tap the 2 in your drop, the counter it to get your energy, get your hand back. 2 Seal, 2 Meki Seal, 2 Dirty Burst. I imagine this is for things like Aggro Sin when they try to drop the. I'm gonna try to go with the 8 drops and Seldeno. Kami for the 1 port go wide. 2 Riot Javelin, which is interesting, which is something I haven't seen most people play. It's counter attack. If your leader card is blue, negate the attack and choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost of 5 or less, ignoring barrier, and return it in his hand. I don't know if this was his way of negating an attack and then putting back those 1 drops back to the hand, but then that isn't great because they can just play again and they get the draw when they play again. So it'd be interesting to know what his reason behind inside that card is. An extra copy of the Children's Army Reinforcement, Ultra Instinct. Imagine this was against things like VS and things like that. An extra Baby Unison and a copy of Jiren Swell the Fittest, which I imagine was there for the mirror when they, if in the mirror they play Turning the Tide. Because against Turning the Tide, it's all in the counter effects. It all goes off even if they stop it unless they counter it, which allows you to play this card as a 15k, and then you don't put your hand back, and I think you draw a card as well. So that was his list. Quite interesting. 5th place, and then for 6th place we have my list for King Gold. I'm not really going to go over this much because I'm going to do a more in-depth profile because as well as this event, I entered into the LGP 4-star ball webcam event and came third in that as well. So I'm going to do a more in-depth deck profile tomorrow where I go over my list and then matchups and stuff for both events. And yeah, some more in-depth. just in case you don't want to watch that because you don't feel like it. That's the main list. Then we have the side deck down below, and I'll go over more about my side deck choices as well in my next video. And then with 7th place we have Anthony Vale from The Distinct Few with his King Vegeta list. Managed to make 7th. So it's quite a standard list. Just imagine, I think he made a post on The Distinct Few's Facebook page, which I'll put a link in the description below, where explaining that I think he only was able to get one chain attack Bardock, and he's going to the reason the Brodies were in there or something was because he didn't have enough copies, and I think he would have more of the he wouldn't have the Broly if he had the cards. He would have more of the Goku and I think a chain attack Bardock, and also if he had the Fight Against Fates, he would have that instead of the Secret Identity. But all in all, really the main deck is quite standard for what most King Vegeta's decks are like. Interesting that he split between the Jiren and the Piccolo. Most people just have place at the Jiren and then side deck the Piccolo Jr. They went for a 2-2 split. With the side deck, he had 2 Mecha, 2 Broken Seal, 2 Jiren, I imagine for the long game with turning inside, Deborah for hand destruction. Quite an interesting one. Body Chain Skinyu. You want to beat Hatwa for free. It seems quite expensive to pay 3 energy for that, but and I'm not sure what it would be best used for. Really, be interesting to know. 2 Brody Crown, great card for red. Testing opposition. Once again, one of the new sparking you kind of negates. That's replaced the old ones. 2 Wolfgang Fist and 2 Bardock Funny Niche to help against Sin and Dark Broly. Then we have the one which I imagine some people want to check out, which is 8th place's Adam Evans. I think it's Adam Evans. I'll just double check. I can't remember now if his name's right. But Adam Evans with the Distinct Few, who ran OG. That's right, the OG Soul Striker Red Blue. Now Adam, I know he's been running this lead for ages, forever, probably since the game first started. Because I remember he took it to Coventry for the last finals we had, and managed to place top in that. And I think he even topped. I can't remember if he topped or did really well at Salford as well, running this. I know this is his favourite leader, and he's always running this with a different variation. And this time he went for Red Blue, and he used my draw in the event. Because I managed to sneak it past him game 2 after he after you tried to put some pressure on and couldn't put and I could defend it enough. He was running a Secret Red, standard blue Secret Rare, Baby Hatch, Food Dark Banisher. It's a really good cut. It's a really good overall. It's only expensive against blue, where if they have the God Sealing Live, 1 Baby Ape. His finisher as well, being the full power, which he does. I think he said in his post, which will also be, check out the Distinct Fuse page where he gives a little bit more. Uses the mill, and how he played it was quite just try to accumulate resources and then power through, because he would rival in or try and draw tons of card, filling with things like Topo and negates and stuff, and callers, and just massive stuff in his opponent's board, and just going in, chucking down the food down, made him use resources to try and defend his aggro push, and then push through as well for finishes with the Freezer, and use the Baby Ape to back up as well, any counters and stuff. Inside deck as well was the 4th Topo, 2 Vegeta for the if you're going to get burn, 1 Deborah for hand destruction, 1 Dark Power Black Saiyans, 2 Dark Power Black Saiyans, which is a really good side. The third God Sealing, a 2nd copy of the Fu, Meki, 2 max power for extra defense and removal as well for big things that come out early, 2 Corsicae, and 2 Desperate Measures. So I imagine that was to stop things like Topo without having to use the Baby Ape. And then we go on to 9th place, where we have the 3rd King Cold being run by, not sure, just I know the BCC ID was Village89. So once again, with the others, if you're the player who piloted this deck, please put it in the comment section, and I'll amend the name on the deck list on the site. So this was interesting because he ran 3 of instead of like most people go for 4. Like people go for like at least a place a new ruler in Onslaught, normally 2 Terabyte realization, and then like a varying number on Unstoppable Invasion. He just went for a 3, so 3 for each of them. I imagine this was a reason behind this was so that way, sometimes if you have just full play sets of the other 2 and not the others, sometimes you get multiple copies at a time with one. Like I did have that when the game I bricked against King Cold. I could only find Anticipated Onslaught, no other fill card, just Anticipated Onslaught, which sucked. And I imagine it's a way to prevent that. For his battle cards, standard with the ones, but he's running Great Sailman instead of Paragus, which is interesting because technically Paragus is the superior one because you get the seeded cards before you get rid of a card, whereas this you get rid of a card and then draw 2, which Paragus would be better because you see before warping, which this you could put something back to bottom and then draw 2 extra cards, and that would suck. He's running Mirrors as overall choice, running 3 Pinnacle, which is interesting. Only 2 Cooler, which is like I would in my mind I would want to run 4, but with Dark Broly being a thing, I reduced it to put an extra Zamasu to help with a bit of hand control. 3 Demolisher, 4 Berry Blue, and 2 Paragus. Interesting in these choices. Technically, the Priest is the usual, and the Paragus can help you reuse your fill cards. And then standard as well of 4 the Unison, 4 of the Raw Supremacy, and 2 Harmless Not Clones. And once again, his secret choice was the Majin Buu secret rare. And for a side deck, he had a 1 Fu, Magic for the long game, Bardock for Dark Broly, Kai for extra pressure, I imagine. Not sure if that was needed, but he chose to run 2 on the side. 2 Goten. Now this, I understand why people run Goten and Mecha, because it's searchable by it doesn't like you use any energy for it because there's no specified cost, and it's searchable for a Dark Planet. But with this deck, you've got nothing to search it, and it's a black card. So technically, what would be better, because also being a Saiyan as well, is the protecting his loved ones, because it's the exact same stats and everything, but it's green, so you can search it off a new ruler. And yeah, like I would imagine that would be easier having the protecting his loved ones, so that would be interesting why you run that over protecting his loved ones. 2 Impulse, because it's one where if your opponent, because you run the Unison, normally you protect the Unison and keep it alive. If your opponent plays something on your turn, you can pay 1 energy, nuke it as long as you've got a Unison on board. 2 Dormant, once again, never running Dormant, I don't feel like it's useful, but hey ho, you're running 2. And you decide a 3rd Cooler and 3 Bigger More for Dark Broly. And then for the last deck profile, the deck list we have is 10th place with Mecha Kabura. And once again, don't know the name of the person who ran the deck, but his BCC ID was Scott D91. So if you're the person that piloted, let me know in the comment section, and I'll add your name to the deck list on DBS Deck Planet. So we're running Mecha Kabura. This is one of the new ones that came out in set 13, along with like King Cold and most King Vegeta. So it's a wish leader, which is quite cool, but a lot stronger, like how wish leaders probably should have been, a lot stronger, and as like a whole mechanic of stealing. And with his list, he ran it maxed out at 60 because his balls you can draw a lot of cards with his deck, like you can deck Finn very easily. And he ran 3 of the Smoke Dragon and 2 of the Tower. Tower is a really good Unison, and Smoke Dragons are both really. Smoke Dragon is really good for letting you get more draws. Then run a 4 of all but the Toa for the ritual hands. So 4 Salsa, 4 Shroom, 4 Meki, and 4 free Toa. I think it's interesting to know why he ran free Toa instead of just 4, because it is a decent blocker and it's removal as well. 4 of the top of the deck, the Poutine, place of the King Vegeta and Big Boss Meki. And by the looks of it, you could easily survive until turn 4 to drop this. And to be even more defensive, you've got 4 of the Kai Negate. Very strong negate, can technically negate 2 attacks because it negates the attack, then plays, then warp a battle card that could potentially attack. 4 Tail Super Combo. 2 of this Dark Shenron, the Wicked Wishmaster. This is one that if he puts on board, he can get extra draws and removal with that as well, which because you've got a lot of ways to trigger it. And also with you can help get the markers up on the Black Smoke Dragon to help get rejuvenate if you ever need it. 2 of the Toa, I imagine a way to get to see the balls quicker, since you can just basically, the balls are free because even there's a 1 cost on this one, it's reduced by 1 I think, or played for free because of Meki, because there's a Meki leader. Then for overwhelm choices, you had 1 Fu because you can imagine you can stall easily stall out until that turn and get use the ultimate wish effect on Meki, and then drop Fu. So you got a triple attack with your leader, and then the Fu to shut down everything on your opponent's all your opponent's effects. And also Fu the Dark Banisher as well, as another very strong overwhelm choice. He's also running 1 Dark Master King Devilish Dominator, imagine, and with this deck, very easy to pull off a way to get out for 4 energy, and to make it so you can attack twice with the first auto ability stand. And the secret rare choice was Sin Shenron Corrupted by Darkness, very good secret rare. It's more of a, the auto doesn't stop too much, because a lot of time now most decks are playing battle cards above their energy costs, but this was a secret rare choice. And also you can drop it down, if you drop it down on turn 3 defense on your opponent's after you've done your 3rd turn defensively, you take 2 energy, 1 the combo and 1 for the auto, and in your next turn when you charge at 4, you've got it ready to use the activate main and make it a dual attacking double striker for a finisher, which is pretty cool. And for balls, like most decks that I've seen run, it's 4 of the Empire Strikes Back and 3 of the Yearning one. Yearning one's good removal for things like to help, I know something that you don't want to have to have on board against you is Dark Power Black Sin, and this is an easy way to warp it from the board. And then with the rest of the extra cards, 2 Power Bursts, interesting why only 2 instead of a playset. 2 Darkness Judgment, this is good either as a negate or a bead for the turn defensively, so a very strong card. And 1 Max Power Kamehameha. And for the side deck, you had 2 Dark Power Black Messiah, 1 Son of Gohan Changing History, the old Deborah counterplay, Darkness Perfected, 1 Hatch, which is interesting. I suppose this is something you can just combo off and then play from the drop if you need to, as a free door attacker from the drop for free energy, and also prevents you from decking out quite well as well. Then we have Kami Global Unifier, 2 Deborah Ritual at Hand, 1 Kami, 1 Deborah, 2 Protect the People, 2 Demonic Absorption. This is to help get through barriers. A very good choice because you get some things like if your opponent gets the slug down, the yellow slug, you're gonna have a hard time drawing cards, especially from using the balls as well. So this has helped get through the slug, and everything's like anything basically anything through barrier, get rid of it. And 3rd copy of Power Burst, 2nd copy of Max Power, Max Bit of Turn, and Burning Slash. Now this Burning Slash is quite interesting because it can't be countered. So against decks this is a really good choice, because if you're going against things like Aggressin, when they drop their card down, they have the free energy open for Swift Retaliation Cooler. This is negate to stop that they can't stop. So that's really cool. It's a really cool side choice. But that's everything for the that's everything for the breakdown. It's all the top 10 decks. And yeah, so we had the breakdown. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I keep trying to get out breakdowns for any of the big events that happen in the UK and Europe, like the car market ones and things like this, large store championships. So feel free to like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment if you're one of the people that didn't have the name on their deck list, so I can add it to the deck list. Also shout out to DBS Deck Planet, best deck building website at the moment for Dragon Ball Super. Really good interface, easy usage as well, and just very well maintained and updated by the owner. And lastly, feel free to subscribe if you want to keep updated with my videos as and when they drop. I try to do things like this, breakdowns, deck profiles, gameplay, trying to expand to different ones, but different things. But if you've got any suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll look into them. But thank you for watching once again, and see you in the next profile, which should be my coverage of my King Cold list. So bye for now.